Right. Okay. So just find your posture in your chair. You're looking to just give yourself a chance to settle, let your thoughts settle into your body, really by way of paying attention to your posture. So key things about the posture, you want to feel that your weight is dropping down through your chair and through your legs and your feet if you can. That means being a little bit forwards in the chair if it's okay on your back. And you're slightly tilted forwards. This gives a longer, broader feel to your back as a whole. Shows how the back of your body really supports the front. So trying not to pull your belly in or tighten in the muscles of your chest. That's quite useful. It's quite a useful posture for getting that feeling in the front of your body because it's one we want to reproduce when we're standing. And when we're standing, we're completely upright. So it's a little bit trickier to get to. So knowing how it can feel is very useful. And then just rubbing your hands together, tapping over your face. And then up and over your head, shoulder, your arm, the other side, then your arm, the upper part of the chest. Down and nice and light on your belly. And finally, your legs. And changing your posture by putting your feet forwards, letting yourself drop back in your chair. And this way, you feel that. This way, you should feel well supported by your chair. And that feeling of being supported helps with this feeling of your weight sinking down and the release of tightness and stiffness, particularly in the upper part of your body. But again, all things we want to bring into the upright stances, both seated and standing. No sense of self sinking into the chair. Remembering always that these are never purely physical actions, that there's an intention there. And one of the very strong intentions is to simply be aware of what's going on in your body. And at that point, without any kind of judgment, not attempting to change anything, but as a way of gathering your attention into one place. And then coming back to the upright position, if possible, about a third of your weight in your feet. So support comes from your chair, of course, and from your feet and your legs. as I've already noted, support from the front of your body, from your back, and through the middle of your body, in a sense, the bones of your legs, pelvis, spine, and ribs, supporting you from inside. And if we can just recognize that the possibility of those areas of support, it takes us a long way towards getting that same feeling of releasing that we had in the reclining position. We don't actually need that tightness, that stiffness in our back or our shoulders. It's not just going to go away because of that, but that's a good starting point. So then, just begin to move a little in by turning your head. Let the movement draw your attention to shoulders, neck, upper part of the spine. Just registering the changes, patterns of movement that develop. And then your shoulders, hands in front of your shoulders. Just smooth circles with your elbows. And going forwards. Bring your hands down to your sides. Imagine there's a small round pillar or ball either side of you, and just rotate your arms so the palms of your hands are sliding around the pillar. And that rotation should come from your shoulder, not your wrist. And then raise your arms and take the fingers all the way around in a circle, as though you're winding up string or cotton. Again, use as much of your arm as you can. And go back the other way. Rest your hands and then just tilting forwards, tilting your pelvis forward so more of your weight goes into your feet. Legs getting compressed, and then a kind of expansive feeling from your legs pushing you back and forwards again. Feeling your weight shifting its emphasis from bearing down through your hips to more of it in the feet and your legs. Then turn just a little bit in the middle of your body. So now one leg takes the majority of the weight. You're getting used to this feeling that your weight is mobile. Turn in the other direction. And then using hips and pelvis, draw your shoulders around in a small circle. Change direction. And again, back to the center. So now, again, the majority of your weight back in your hips and just step forwards with one foot, planting the foot forwards and back. Just to get a bit of movement into your legs. And with the other foot, stepping out, not stretching your leg. You should feel that the knee is still a little bit bent and the foot is on the floor. Lovely. So now, having gone through the different parts of the body, rearrange myself. Having gone through the different parts of the body, we now look to move with a sense of our whole body as one unit. Hands down to your sides, and again, turning your hands forwards. So repeating that exercise we did earlier, but this time with the weight, your weight going forwards into your feet and back. Arms rotating, so palms are forwards again, and then pushing forwards from your head. The bird folds its wings. Feel the opening and closing in your chest and your upper back. Gentle sort of massaging quality to the movement. Breathing just comfortable, whatever pattern, way of breathing is useful to you at the moment. And then from the forward position, leaving your hands facing back. This time just feeling your arms beginning to swing from your shoulders as you move your weight. A little bit of an opening here in front of your shoulder until your arm comes through and that then contracts. Maybe just aware of the similar feeling, but a bit more obscure, tucked in behind your shoulder blade. And whatever other areas there are of your body where you find them expanding and contracting, just taking note of those. Do one more of these, going forwards. At the end of the movement, leaving your arm out, pushing back so your hand gets drawn. So you're rolling the ball in towards your chest. So from the side, just do it one-handed. Yeah, and back. Keep pushing down, draws your shoulders up. That pulls your arm over. And then the elbow drops down. That's where we get that rolling movement from. One more time. Then here, turn your hands palm in, draw your elbows apart, again your chest expanding and contracting as you go forward. This is pigeon spread this way. You don't want your hands to come above shoulder height, and you don't want them to go behind your shoulders. We're not stretching the chest muscles, we're rather just getting that feeling of a pulsing, excuse me, pulsing expansion and contraction. A nice expansive movement, which we then this time leaving your hands more in front of your hips, just a little bit more sort of compressed, really pushing wave. But still feeling movement in your chest and your upper back, and of course your weight moving forwards and then backwards. Small, going forwards. This time when you come back, elbows stay in, but again don't go behind the shoulders. Loosely fisted in your hands. So it's a hollow fist. You should be able to get one of your fingers down through the middle, not gripping tightly. So this then means that you're more likely to be able to get again that rotation into your shoulder joint. So the rotation comes down the top of your arm into your elbow and then to your wrist. Try not to make it just in the forearm and wrist. One more of these going forwards. Open your fingers, turn your hands palm out, wind out and back. Moving back in front of your hips and again pressing forward. One more time, coming back. When you get your hands in front of your belly, turn them palm down. Turn in the center of your body. Ease forward to push your hands forward. Swing across and then back. Just polishing the table. Don't go too far. I'm doing it quite big, so hopefully you can see what's happening. But I would probably, if I was doing it by myself, I would probably do it slightly smaller. One more of these. Turning your hands palm up. Gentle push down through your feet and your hip. Creates a sort of upward wave. Pushes your hands up and then releasing that push down. Let your hands come down. Back lengthening, contracting. Nice steady pulsing rhythm. One more. Then, same thing, using your feet and your hip, put your hands out to your side, the wild goose. One more time. Easing forwards and let your hands cross in front of your knees. Sit back and this time with the push up, fingers being pushed around in a smooth circle, just parting the cloud. Making sure that at the top, the furthest extent of the movement, you could have moved a little bit further, just maintaining and cultivating that spacious quality inside. This time, don't go forwards, just let your arms drop down and okay, the weight of your arms hanging from your shoulders. And with the next little push up, focusing on one side. Dragon plucks the stars from the sky, expanding and contract. Change sides. Don't rush to change from one side to another. One more time. and then both hands together, pushing in two directions, just a little bit above your head and a little bit in front. Taking time to let your movements and your attention come back to that central position before you push sideways. A good exercise for really feeling that pulse, yang to yin, yang. And this time, when you push your hands out sideways, turn just a little bit in your hips and your waist. See how that changes the direction that your hands push out in, coming back to the front. And turn the other way and back. And push out sideways. So now we have pushing in four directions. Remember that maxim about only going to 80% of the full movement. Because you could have moved a little bit further. And as a result, perhaps just aware of the sense of flow of movement within your body. One more round of this. This time as you push your arms out, extend one foot, knees slightly bent, scooping forward as though you're scooping water up in your arms, and then your hips drop back, drawing on your shoulders, then your elbows, then your wrists to look at the sky, scooping the sea, looking at the sky. Very gently with the back. Once more. From the back position here, letting your hands drop down again, roll your fingers into a loose fist, pushing forwards, lengthening through your back and spine, grasping the tiger's ears. Your hands start from the lowest position, turn your hands palm forwards, feel the chest opening and then contracting, helping to bring your arms around. A very similar feeling in chest and shoulders to one we had where we were just rotating our arms. One more time. Change over. So now, scooping the sea and looking at the sky. There will be a suggestion, if you like, of a stretch in the back of your legs and in your back. So very, very carefully. And then change into grasping the tiger's ear. One more time. Good. Bring your feet in. And once again, just giving yourself a few moments to reflect on the posture, its characteristics, those qualities that you'd like to bring into all your movements and all your posture. Then just opening your eyes and going back to rocking your weight forwards and backwards, feet to hips and back. And at the same time, as you go forwards, turn towards one leg and then back to the center. Turn to the other leg. Now, bringing your hands in to the movement. As you go forwards into your left, you turn, pushes the right hand forwards, it rises up, hitting the ball in front of the shoulder. Turn your hand, draw back your hands, pass by each other in the center. On the other side, expanding through the left side of your body, and contracting, and then expanding through the right side of your body. And contracting, hitting the ball in front of the shoulder. Remember, when one part of your body is in motion, your whole body is engaged, from the soles of your feet, the crown of your head, to your fingers. This last one. And then just rest. And once again, give yourself a few moments just to recall the qualities of this posture. Okay, then just open your eyes and rubbing your hands together. Once again, tapping exercise to prepare for standing, standing, excuse me. Tapping over your face. Over your head and neck. Shoulder and your arm. On the side. Part of your chest. Light on your belly. And again, quite strong on your legs, get the blood flowing, get the feeling back into your legs after you've been sitting. Good. And then just pushing your heels up. So again, just sort of getting a bit of feeling back into your legs. And then making a circle with the knees. Back the other way. Okay. And then you can stand. So those last two exercises I used at that point to prepare for the standing. When you've been sitting for a while, circulation may drop. You may lose, as I said, a sense of feeling in your legs. So it's always a kind of tricky moment going from sit to stand. And if you possibly can, having some kind of preparation for it is a good idea. Now, just thinking a little bit about your standing posture. We want to try and reproduce some of the qualities, or all of the qualities, ideally, that we had in the chair. Our weight sinks down. We feel the support from legs and feet, support for the front of the body from your back, and support from within, support from your skeleton. And just as we would want a good chair to sit in to feel that, so we've got to think a little bit more about our structure. So on the front, you can see my feet are directly below my hips, not too close together, as much as possible pointing forward, although there you can see there's a slight outward turn, which is fine. On the side, we want to feel that our weight, the weight of our head, for instance, goes straight down through our body and into our legs and our feet. We don't want to be leaning forwards and contending with the pull of gravity the whole time. That distinctive feel of the posture can actually help you. In practice, what we're trying to do, I'll come a little bit closer. So what I want to try and do is to have my weight a little bit forwards in my feet. I would say 70% of my weight in the front half of my feet. And that gives me this slight feeling of angling forwards. It's not the most comfortable position. But what we do is we let gravity draw our hips back, and that brings me back to an upright position, but keeps my weight forwards. If I show you with this pole, bearing in mind, in theory, it's possible for me to find a position here where I could just let go of the pole and it won't fall over. In practice, of course, it's quite difficult to do that. But if you imagine this pole going through my body, then here I go forward. You can see that pole's now an angle. I'm exaggerating this, by the way. And then the pole runs from my shoulder to my hip. And what I do is I let my hips drop back. And again, it's exaggerated, but you can see from here to here, my pelvis levels off. So if there were a weight on that pole there, on the top of the pole, when I angle forwards here, again, the pole runs from shoulder to hip, that weight would be pulling the pole forwards. But I use the pull of gravity to let my hips drop back. And that keeps my weight a little bit forwards, quite an alert position, but also settles me at the same time. The other thing to think about here, if you think of the pole as representing, say, the center line of my body, or perhaps my spine and my skeleton, then it's not reliant purely on the alignment of the pull of gravity. I want my center of gravity to drop, and again, that sinking of the hips drops the center of gravity. So it's like there's a weight at the bottom now. There would be. I've also got the tendons and the ligaments. And if you think of this being like a pole for a tent, then the skin of the tent and the guy ropes would also help to keep it upright. So you're not reliant on any one element, but rather different aspects that come together and support each other, like a tent, if you like to think of it like that. So your legs are supporting your body, of course. Again, your back supporting the front of your body. And again, that's support from within. And this is something we want to try and maintain through the exercises. So yeah, just letting the hips drop back a little bit more, bring your hands around as though you're cradling the ball and pushing up, lifting the ball and pressing down. The sinking down is the rooting down. Or the expanding, growing out of the root and contracting. Expanding and contracting. Nice, easy and gentle. And change to the standing version of the wild goose. Standing and contracting. One more time. And then letting your hands drop, crossing in front of your belly, parting the clouds. Again, expanding and contracting. You want to try and feel that your feet are moving your hands, not straining in your shoulders or your back. One more time. Good. Okay. And shake out. So we want to try and maintain these qualities within our posture as we move around. So changing the stance. Now, as I said, my feet are hip width apart, directly below my hips. You can see the background just about through my legs. If I turn one foot out and step forward, you can still see that background. So try not to step too narrow. And it's not to sort of play with this idea. It's not going to be a long step. And just once again begin to transfer your weight from front to back. But again, illustrating this with the pole. It's not perfect, by the way. It's not in exactly the right position, but you can see here again the pole running straight down, more or less from my shoulder to my hip. And as I move forwards, it stays that way. So I don't want to do this to lean forwards, which is what we might do in everyday walking, by the way. But this is just exploring how we can maintain that sense of alignment with the pull of gravity and our rooting down with a little bit of movement in our weight. If we were walking to the shop, we might well lean forwards a little bit, but let me just, I'll show you that in a moment. We'll look at how that links with what we're doing in a moment. But For the moment, just feeling that fluid movement, the transfer of your weight from front to back. And then go back and just raise your front toes a little bit. You can turn the front foot out a little bit now. Go forwards, push your back knee forward so your heel comes up. And this means a bit more weight begins to sink down into the supporting leg. Until you get to a point where you can reasonably comfortably just bring that foot in and then push the foot back again into the position it came from. Go back, bring the foot in, and go back. Change, shake out. Now again, let me just show you something with this representing the sort of center line of my body. So when I'm doing this, I'm keeping it more or less in line. There is no straight line in your body, of course, it's an imaginary line. And one of the things that's really important here is this feeling of my hips dropping back, always pulling me down into my foot. Now, in everyday walking, and this is quite an efficient way of walking, what we tend to do is we lean forward slightly, and our center of gravity goes forward. It helps us to keep up a sense of momentum. Go too far with that, and we risk falling over. We're like running down a hill or something like that. So even though in everyday walking, we might take this position. There's two things to think about here that we've covered already. One is this imaginary line, which we might think of as being like a mooring post for a boat in the sea, that we don't move too far from it, so it still supports us, and my hips still dropping back to counterbalance the effect of my head going forwards. So those are important elements to consider when we do this stepping in the upright position. So let's try that exercise on the other side. Turn your right foot out or your other foot, step forwards. Once we've got a sense of what it's like to move with a feeling of alignment and root, then we're capable of moving away from that because we know we can get back to it. And that's important. And another key thing here, of course, is the movement of our weight from one foot to another. And then you push the back knee forward, so more of your weight goes down through the supporting leg, the front leg, and raising the toes. Similarly, more of the weight going in to your back leg. So this is a valuable exercise to practice because what your body learns from this, what you pick up from this, will stay with you in your everyday walking if you practice it more. Stepping in. We can begin to see how structure and an awareness of structure and movement are all bound up with each other, body, mind, and energy combining. And then take a few steps through, either forwards or backwards. Not meant to be a competition to see who can stand on one leg. And then going back, so you notice here, I can put my toes down just to steady myself if I need to. Obviously, if you can, you could try not putting the toes down to see how that goes. Don't feel it's a failure if it doesn't quite work out. Just work on the basic principles: routine, alignment, weight transfer, working together. Okay, and shake out. Then we'll do a little exercise to bring the arms back in to the movement here. Start with your right foot forwards. We'll do the exercise. Dragonfly skins the water. So start with your weight in your back foot, and you're going to turn a little bit to your right, so you're right towards your front foot, and let that swing your arms out to here. Your body expanded, shoulders nice and relaxed. Go forwards, turn to your left, let the arms drop down and swing up again. Raise your back foot, and bring foot in. We can do the same thing going back. And we can combine this with the walking that we just did. So again, you can either go forwards or backwards, depending on where you've got space. This time, so I'm going to go forwards. I'll bring the back foot in, and then when I'm ready, I step forwards. And again, this time, just checking my posture. And again, if it's appropriate, I might bring my leg up at the same time as my arms are pushed up. But I'm not fanatical about that. If I thought I might be a bit wobbly today, I wouldn't have done it. And I always check first anyway. Trying to keep that alignment with the pull of gravity. I'm going to change the stance. You will have the odd wobble, but see if you can just allow your hips to drop a little bit. Get that feeling of your center of gravity dropping. Once again, mind, body, and energy, mind, body, and movement working together. One more time. And bring your feet down. Lovely. Go back to your chairs. I love the quote from a great Tai Chi teacher called T.T. Liang, who said, when asked, that he would lose balance all the time, but would get it back all the time. And I think all these qualities are temporary. They come and they come and they go. But key thing is, how do we get them back? And this last exercise very much pointing us at that. It's called Embrace Tiger, Return to Mountain. So letting your hips sink into the chair, letting your shoulders drop, let your hands drop. Push your arms out, and then before they reach shoulder height, bring them around as though you're going to hold a ball against your chest. Feel gravity working down through your body, drawing your arms in and down. And just pay attention to what's going on in your body and what it is that brings you back. It could be something to do with the image of the mountain, or sort of gravity through your body, or anything else. Just making note of what might be useful to you. When you feel a bit agitated and you want to calm down, when you feel a bit physically wobbly and you want to become more stable, and you feel as though you're losing quality of movement, rather than feeling it as a failure. It's just life. And so just taking the time to register one or two things that can stay with you. Embrace tiger, return to mountain. One more time. This time let your hands come to rest on your legs. Just rest for a few moments in this position. Again, just building a sense of familiarity with it and the qualities you associate. And then just open your eyes. Lovely. Thank you very much, everybody. So I hope that was useful. Enjoy the rest of your day.